Did you know that up to 60% of relationships end due to a gradual loss of interest, not a single dramatic event? According to Dr. Helen Fisher's research on romantic relationships, this disengagement is a complex interplay of psychological shifts. In the next 13 minutes, you're going to discover 5 critical reasons behind why women lose interest, including reason number 3, which most men completely overlook, leading to an irreversible decline in attraction. This isn't about mind games, it's about understanding the science of connection and what truly sustains it over time. Get ready to decode the subtle signals that precede emotional distance and learn how to build lasting attraction. We're diving deep into the female psyche to equip you with the knowledge you need. Reason number 1, the decline of perceived value. A 2018 study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that women are highly attuned to a partner's perceived value, which isn't just about status, but also effort and attentiveness. Imagine this: early on, he's constantly texting, planning elaborate dates, and showering her with compliments. She feels chosen, special, and highly valued. But as time passes, he becomes complacent, assuming her interest is guaranteed. He stops putting in the same effort, his texts become sporadic, and compliments are few and far between. This perceived drop in value signals that she's no longer a priority, triggering a slow disengagement. The evolutionary psychology here is clear: a partner who invests less signals reduced commitment and potentially less desirable genes, prompting a woman to seek alternatives or simply withdraw. Reason number 2, insecure attachment styles surface. Research published in Attachment and Human Development reveals how attachment styles, formed in childhood, significantly impact adult romantic relationships. If a woman has an anxious attachment style, she craves constant reassurance and fears abandonment. When a man becomes emotionally distant or inconsistent, her anxiety spikes. She might start testing him, seeking validation, or withdrawing herself to protect against anticipated rejection. Conversely, a man with an avoidant style might pull away when intimacy deepens, making her feel insecure and devalued. This creates a negative feedback loop. Her fear of not being enough leads her to push him away, or his avoidance fuels her anxiety, ultimately causing her to lose interest as she seeks someone who can provide the emotional safety she desperately needs. This isn't about malice, it's a deep-seated psychological response to perceived insecurity. Reason number 3, the erosion of novelty and excitement. A foundational principle in behavioral psychology, explored extensively in studies on dopamine and reward pathways, is the hedonic treadmill. Initially, new relationships are a dopamine rush, everything is exciting, unpredictable, and thrilling. She's discovering new facets of your personality, experiencing new activities together, and the sheer novelty keeps her engaged. However, as the relationship settles into a routine, this initial thrill naturally fades. If a man fails to introduce new experiences, maintain intrigue, or foster a sense of adventure, the relationship can start to feel predictable and, frankly, boring. This isn't about her being superficial, it's a biological drive to seek novelty. When the excitement wanes and the relationship feels static, her brain's reward system seeks stimulation elsewhere, leading to a gradual loss of interest. The key is continuous growth and shared exploration. Reason number 4, communication breakdowns and unmet needs. Social psychology research consistently highlights communication as the bedrock of healthy relationships. When a woman feels her thoughts, feelings, or needs are consistently unheard or invalidated, a profound sense of disconnect emerges. Imagine her trying to express a concern, only to be met with defensiveness, dismissal, or a lack of genuine listening. This repeated experience erodes trust and intimacy. She might start to feel like she's talking to a wall, or worse, that her partner doesn't truly care about her inner world. This emotional detachment is a direct precursor to losing interest. Her brain begins to associate the relationship with frustration and loneliness, making her less inclined to invest her energy. Ultimately, she loses interest because the emotional connection, fueled by effective communication, has been broken. Reason number 5, the shift in perceived effort and investment. Evolutionary psychology suggests that humans are wired to reciprocate effort and investment. A 2019 study in evolutionary behavioral sciences noted that women, particularly, are sensitive to sustained effort in a relationship. Initially, a man might go above and beyond: romantic gestures, thoughtful surprises, consistent emotional support. This signals high commitment and desirability. However, if his effort gradually dwindles, or if it becomes clear that he expects her to carry the emotional or logistical load, her perception shifts dramatically. She starts to see the relationship as a one-sided affair, a drain rather than a source of fulfillment. This perceived imbalance is a powerful deterrent. Her brain registers this lack of reciprocal investment as a signal that he is no longer worth the emotional energy she's expending. She loses interest because the fundamental equation of give and take has been broken, making her feel unappreciated and undervalued. So, why does a woman suddenly go cold? It's rarely a spontaneous decision. It's often the culmination of one or more of these underlying psychological shifts. Think about it: if her perceived value plummets because you become complacent, or if her attachment anxieties are triggered by your inconsistency, her interest naturally wanes. The erosion of novelty means the spark fades, and communication breakdowns leave her feeling disconnected. When she senses a significant drop in your effort, it's a powerful signal that the relationship is no longer a priority for you. These aren't minor issues, they are fundamental drivers of attraction and connection. Understanding these reasons is the first step to preventing disengagement and fostering a deeper, more sustainable bond. It's about recognizing the subtle cues and proactively addressing them. The science points to a crucial truth: attraction isn't static. It's an ongoing process that requires consistent nurturing. When a woman starts to lose interest, it's often a signal that something fundamental has shifted in her perception of the relationship or her partner. It's not about her being fickle, it's about her biological and psychological needs for security, value, and connection not being met. The research into relationship dynamics consistently shows that complacency is a silent killer of attraction. If you're not actively contributing to the relationship's growth and her sense of well-being, you're likely creating the conditions for her to disengage. The key takeaway is that proactive effort and genuine understanding are far more powerful than reactive damage control. We'll delve into how to actively build these elements. Consider the subtle cues. When a woman's interest begins to fade, her behavior often shifts before she explicitly states it. She might become less responsive to your texts, her enthusiasm for dates dwindles, and she may start to avoid deep conversations about the future. This isn't necessarily a conscious manipulation, it's a natural consequence of her emotional investment decreasing. Her brain is already recalibrating, seeking more fulfilling connections or withdrawing to protect itself. If you're not paying attention to these early warning signs, you'll likely be blindsided when she eventually pulls away. The science of attraction emphasizes the importance of reciprocity and sustained effort. When these are absent, the foundation for genuine interest begins to crumble, paving the way for disengagement. Recognizing these subtle shifts is key to proactive relationship management. One of the most telling shifts occurs in her willingness to engage on a deeper emotional level. When interest is high, women often share intimate thoughts, vulnerabilities, and dreams with a partner they trust. They lean in, their body language open and receptive, their gaze lingering. This is the neurochemical dance of connection, fueled by oxytocin and a sense of safety. If she starts to pull back from these intimate exchanges, her responses become shorter, her eye contact less frequent, and she might deflect personal questions. It's a significant indicator. This isn't about her being cold, it's a protective mechanism signaling that the emotional reservoir is depleting. She's no longer investing the same energy into building the deep, shared world with you, and her disengagement is a direct consequence. Her willingness to invest time and energy into shared experiences also changes. Initially, she'll eagerly plan dates, suggest activities, and dedicate significant time to being with you. This is a clear signal of high interest and commitment. However, as her interest wanes, you'll notice a subtle shift. She might become less proactive in planning, her availability might decrease, and she might express a preference for solitary activities or time with friends over one-on-one time with you. This isn't necessarily a sign of malice, but rather a reflection of her diminishing emotional investment. Her brain is reallocating resources, and the relationship is no longer a top priority. This gradual withdrawal from shared experiences is a powerful, albeit often overlooked, indicator that her interest is fading, and she's beginning to disengage from the romantic connection. The conversational dynamic is another area where a woman's fading interest becomes apparent. When attraction is high, conversations flow easily, are filled with laughter, and often touch on personal topics, dreams, and future aspirations. She's actively engaged, asking questions, and sharing her own thoughts openly. As interest declines, conversations tend to become more superficial, transactional, or even strained. She might offer brief answers, avoid follow-up questions, or steer the conversation away from personal matters. This shift indicates a reduced desire to deepen the connection. Her brain is signaling that the emotional payoff from interacting with you is diminishing, leading her to invest less energy into the conversation. This subtle but significant change in communication patterns is a strong indicator of declining interest. Understanding why women lose interest is about recognizing the science behind attraction and connection. It's not about magic tricks or manipulation, it's about understanding fundamental human psychology. The reasons we've discussed, the decline of perceived value, the surfacing of attachment styles, the erosion of novelty, communication breakdowns, and the shift in perceived effort, are all scientifically validated factors that influence romantic dynamics. When these elements are neglected, the natural consequence is a decrease in a woman's interest. The key isn't to avoid these pitfalls, but to proactively build a relationship based on sustained effort, emotional safety, genuine communication, and continuous growth. This knowledge empowers you to foster deeper connections and prevent the silent erosion of attraction that leads to disengagement. It's about becoming a partner who understands and actively nurtures the bond. So, to recap, women lose interest when perceived value drops, when emotional safety is compromised, when novelty fades, when communication fails, and when effort becomes one-sided. These are the core scientific reasons behind female disengagement. But knowing the signs is only half the equation. What you do next is what actually matters. Subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown, because understanding women is a skill.